Another thug playing dress-up in stolen clothes. Officer Derek Matthews sneers into his radio from his patrol car parked outside the Millbrook Heights police station. Across the street at the Chevron gas station, a black man in an expensive suit steps out of a pristine sedan. Matthews floors the gas pedal. His patrol car screeches across the intersection, blocking the gas station exit completely. He storms out, chest puffed with authority. "Hey, boy! Where'd you steal that fancy ride?" The man freezes next to the gas pump. Other customers stare in shock. Matthews shoves the man's shoulder hard, then immediately points an accusing finger. "Don't you dare touch me! That's an assault on a police officer!" The well-dressed man slowly raises his hands, his jaw tight with controlled rage. Matthews's hand hovers over his weapon, eyes gleaming with cruel satisfaction. This is happening right across from the police station. Have you ever been judged by your skin color before anyone knew who you really were? This is Millbrook Heights, Georgia, a picture-perfect suburban community where million-dollar homes line tree-shaded streets. The American flag waves from every porch. Soccer moms drive spotless SUVs. Everything looks peaceful and progressive on the surface, but appearances can be deceiving. Meet David Richardson. At 42, he carries himself with the quiet confidence of a man who's earned every achievement through merit alone. His navy suit is tailored to perfection. His gold watch catches the morning light as he checks the time. 9:47 a.m. Today is the most important day of his career. David started his morning at 6 a.m. in his hotel room, reviewing personnel files and budget reports spread across the desk. 20 years of police work taught him to prepare for everything. He studied crime statistics, community demographics, and officer evaluations until his eyes burned. He chose this exact gas station for a reason. The Chevron sits directly across from the Millbrook Heights police station, a modern brick building with gleaming windows and perfectly manicured landscaping. In 30 minutes, David will walk through those doors as the new police chief. The mayor recruited him personally after a nationwide search. His resume speaks for itself. Master's degree in criminal justice, 2 decades with Atlanta PD's Major Crimes Division, solved high-profile cases that made national headlines. His community outreach programs reduced crime by 35% in the toughest neighborhoods. But David knows he's walking into a powder keg. The previous chief retired after running the department with an old-school mentality for 30 years. 89% of the force is white. The local newspaper's comment section exploded when his appointment was announced last week. Words like outsider and political correctness dominated the discussion. David grew up in rural Alabama, where his father was a school principal and his mother worked as a nurse. They taught him that character matters more than color, that education opens every door, that hard work defeats every obstacle. They were mostly right. The gas station bustles with Tuesday morning activity. A contractor in paint-splattered overalls fills his pickup truck. 3 soccer moms chat while their SUVs idle nearby. A businessman in a wrinkled shirt grabs coffee and a breakfast sandwich. Everyone seems friendly and normal. The smell of gasoline mingles with fresh coffee from the convenience store. Traffic hums steadily on Millbrook Avenue. Birds chirp in the oak trees that shade the parking lot. This could be anywhere in suburban America. David fills his tank methodically, running through his introduction speech one more time. He wants to strike the right balance, confident but not arrogant, experienced but willing to listen, firm but approachable. His first impression will set the tone for everything that follows. He has no idea that 2 of his future officers are already watching him with suspicion. Officer Derek Matthews has worked this beat for 17 years. At 45, he represents the department's old guard, white, conservative, suspicious of change. His partner Jake Sullivan is younger but shares the same worldview. They see David's expensive car and immediately assume the worst. These men have never been held accountable for their actions. They've operated in a system that protects them from consequences. Internal affairs investigations always conclude with insufficient evidence. Citizen complaints disappear into filing cabinets. Their union representative knows exactly what to say when problems arise. The irony is staggering. Two officers are about to racially profile and assault their new commanding officer. They're about to commit federal crimes directly across from their own police station. They're about to destroy their careers while their victim pumps gas before his first day as their boss. David replaces the gas cap and walks toward the convenience store to pay. His leather shoes make soft sounds against the asphalt. His movements are calm and deliberate, the walk of a man comfortable in his own skin. He passes a young mother herding two small children toward their minivan. She smiles politely. He nods back with genuine warmth. An elderly man reading a newspaper on a bench looks up and waves. David raises his hand in response. This is exactly the kind of community interaction he hopes to foster as chief. Mutual respect, common courtesy, simple human decency. But Matthews and Sullivan see something entirely different. They see a black man who doesn't belong in their neighborhood. They see expensive clothes that must be stolen. They see an opportunity to assert their authority and remind someone of their place. The morning sun climbs higher, casting sharp shadows across the parking lot. The flag above the police station snaps in a gentle breeze. Everything appears normal and peaceful. In 60 seconds, that peace will be shattered. David Richardson has no idea he's about to become the victim of the very system he's been hired to reform. He has no idea that his badge, the symbol of his authority and achievement, is hidden beneath his jacket, waiting to change everything. The stage is set. The players are in position. Justice is about to be served in the most unexpected way possible. Matthews strides across the parking lot like a predator stalking prey. His heavy boots crunch against loose gravel. His hand never leaves his service weapon. The morning sun glints off his badge and reflects in his cold blue eyes. License, registration, and proof of insurance. Now! His voice carries across the entire gas station, drowning out the gentle hum of traffic. Every conversation stops, heads turn. A construction worker pauses mid-sip of his coffee, steam rising from his cup. The soccer moms freeze beside their SUVs, car doors hanging open. Even the birds seem to go quiet. David slowly reaches for his wallet, movements deliberate and controlled. His gold cufflinks catch the sunlight as he moves. 20 years of police work taught him exactly what Matthews is doing, establishing dominance through intimidation and public humiliation. There's no need for this aggressive tone, officer. I'm simply getting my identification. Matthews's face reddens with anger. His jaw muscles clench. How dare this man speak to him with such composure? How dare he use educated language? In Matthews's world, respect flows in only one direction, toward the badge. Articulate responses sound like challenges to his authority. Slow movements, I said. Slow. David's jaw tightens, but he complies with measured dignity. His leather wallet emerges from his jacket pocket. His movements are precise, careful, deliberate. He knows one wrong gesture could escalate this situation beyond control. The expensive leather feels smooth against his fingers. Sullivan circles to the passenger side of the sedan, creating a tactical flanking position. His boots scrape against rough asphalt. His radio crackles with intermittent static. The sound makes nearby customers nervous. A mother instinctively pulls her toddler closer. "Derek, I think we got ourselves a real problem here," Sullivan calls out, peering through the car's tinted windows with theatrical suspicion. He cups his hands against the glass, blocking reflected sunlight. Matthews examines David's driver's license like he's studying a piece of evidence at a crime scene. He holds it up to the light, squints at the photo, runs his thumb across the surface checking for signs of forgery. His fingers leave smudges on the laminated surface. David Richardson. Atlanta address. "What are you really doing in our neighborhood, David?" The way he says the name drips with condescension. He emphasizes each syllable like it tastes bitter in his mouth. The distance between them shrinks as Matthews steps closer, invading personal space. His coffee breath mingles with the smell of his aftershave. "Is this car registered to you? Because it looks pretty expensive for someone from your background." The word background hangs in the air like a racial slur. Everyone within earshot understands the implication. A young mother quickly ushers her children toward the convenience store entrance, their small sneakers pattering against concrete. An elderly man folds his newspaper and looks away uncomfortably. The gas pump clicks off automatically behind David. The digital display shows $47.83. Such a normal sound in such an abnormal situation. The smell of gasoline grows stronger in the warming morning air. "Officer, I'm legally parked on private property. I've committed no traffic violation and no crime. What's your reasonable suspicion for this stop?" David's voice remains steady, professional. His legal knowledge is obvious, precise. Each word is chosen carefully. This only irritates Matthews further. In his experience, uppity behavior deserves immediate correction. Education sounds like arrogance to his ears. Reasonable suspicion? Matthews laughs harshly. His laughter echoes off nearby car windows. "How about you matching the description of someone involved in recent break-ins? How about that expensive car and fancy clothes that don't match your demographic? How about the fact that you're clearly out of place here?" Each accusation is legally baseless. Matthews knows it. David knows it. But Matthews has operated in a system that protects him from consequences for 17 years. He's never been held accountable for his actions. Internal affairs investigations always conclude with insufficient evidence. A small crowd begins forming in a rough semicircle. The construction worker sets down his coffee cup on the hood of his truck and pulls out his phone. One of the soccer moms starts recording, her manicured fingers trembling slightly. A teenager walking to school stops and watches with wide eyes, backpack sliding off one shoulder. "I smell marijuana," Sullivan announces loudly, despite the bright morning air showing no evidence of anything except gasoline fumes and coffee aromas. "It definitely smells like weed coming from this vehicle." David's eyes narrow slightly. His composure cracks just enough to show controlled anger. "Officer, there's no marijuana in my vehicle. I don't use drugs, and I'd appreciate it if you'd stop making false accusations." "Don't tell me how to do my job, boy." The word boy cuts through the morning air like a whip crack. Several witnesses gasp audibly. A middle-aged white woman in yoga clothes shakes her head in disgust. The teenager filming whispers, "Oh my God," to her friend, who's also recording now. Matthews keys his radio loudly enough for everyone to hear. Static crackles across the parking lot like electricity before a storm. "Central, we've got a suspicious individual in a potentially stolen vehicle at the Chevron on Millbrook Avenue. Requesting backup for a full search and possible arrest." David's fists clench involuntarily. His knuckles show pale against his dark skin. 20 years of professional training battle against 20 years of personal experience with exactly this kind of treatment. His expensive watch reflects morning sunlight as his pulse quickens. "Officer Matthews," David says, reading the name tag pinned to the uniform shirt, "you have no probable cause for a search. I've committed no traffic violation, no crime, and I'm legally parked on private property. I explicitly refuse consent for any search of my person or vehicle." His professional language clearly irritates Matthews. Educated speech sounds like disrespect to ears accustomed to fear and submission. Matthews interprets David's calm demeanor as arrogance that needs immediate correction through force. Probable cause? How about you matching the description of recent break-in suspects? How about that attitude you're giving a sworn police officer? How about the fact that you don't belong in this neighborhood? The accusations pile up like kindling for a fire. Each one is documented by multiple phones recording from different angles. Each word will later be analyzed by federal investigators and played in courtrooms. But at this moment, Matthews feels completely untouchable. A second patrol car arrives, tires squealing unnecessarily as it enters the parking lot. Then a third. Officers Emma Rodriguez and Tom Bradley emerge with hands resting on their weapons. The tactical display is designed to intimidate and overwhelm. "Gentlemen, lady," Matthews grins with satisfaction, "we've got ourselves a situation here." The smell of burning rubber mixes with gasoline fumes. Radio static fills the air with electronic chatter. The casual morning atmosphere transforms into something that feels like a military occupation of suburban America. David surveys the scene with professional eyes. 3 patrol cars, 4 officers, multiple witnesses, multiple recording devices. He's outnumbered but not outmatched. His years of experience taught him to stay calm under pressure and document everything. "Officers, I'm going to state this clearly for all the recording devices present. I am David Richardson. I am legally parked on private property. I have committed no crime. I do not consent to any search. I am not resisting. I am complying with all lawful orders." His words are chosen carefully, professionally. He's building a legal record with every sentence. He knows these officers are about to violate his constitutional rights, and he's documenting everything for the inevitable federal court case. But David has no idea just how much worse this is about to get. Matthews steps closer, close enough that David can smell coffee on his breath and see the hatred burning in his pale blue eyes. Close enough to violate every rule about professional distance and respect for citizens. "You're in my town now," Matthews growls, his voice dropping to a threatening whisper. "And in my town, people like you show respect to people like me." "You got a problem with that, boy?" The confrontation reaches a dangerous tipping point. Multiple phones capture every word from different angles. Witnesses hold their breath. The morning sun beats down on a scene that's about to explode into violence. David Richardson, future police chief, decorated veteran, community leader, stands surrounded by officers who see only skin color and assume criminality. He has no idea that his hidden badge is about to change everything. In 60 seconds, this routine harassment will become a federal civil rights case. In 60 seconds, the hunters will become the hunted. In 60 seconds, justice will be served in the most spectacular way possible. But first, things are going to get much, much worse. 2 additional patrol cars screech into the parking lot, sirens wailing unnecessarily through the quiet morning air. Officers Emma Rodriguez and Tom Bradley emerge with hands already positioned on their weapons. The tactical display transforms a simple gas station into what looks like a crime scene. Matthews grins with predatory satisfaction. His chest puffs out with authority as backup arrives. The morning sun glints off 4 badges, 4 weapons, 4 officers now surrounding one man who committed no crime except existing while black in the wrong neighborhood. "Gentlemen, lady, we've got ourselves a situation here," Matthews announces, his voice carrying across the parking lot like a ringmaster at a circus. The crowd of witnesses grows larger. More phones appear, recording from multiple angles. A delivery truck driver pulls over and starts filming. 2 joggers stop mid-run to watch the unfolding drama. The teenage girl live streams to her social media followers with shaking hands. "This is an illegal search," David states firmly, as Rodriguez begins rifling through his vehicle without consent. "You have no warrant, no probable cause, and I've explicitly refused consent." Rodriguez ignores him completely, pulling items from his glove compartment and spreading them across the hood. Insurance papers, vehicle registration, a phone charger, a small bottle of hand sanitizer, nothing remotely illegal or suspicious. "Shut your mouth before you make this worse for yourself," Matthews snarls, stepping closer until David can feel his breath on his face. When David attempts to document the badge numbers of all officers present, slowly reaching for his phone, Matthews explodes into action. He's going for something. He's resisting. The takedown is swift and brutal. Matthews and Sullivan grab David's arms simultaneously, twisting them behind his back with unnecessary force. David's expensive suit jacket tears at the shoulder seam as they force him forward. His body slams face first into the hot asphalt with a sickening thud. The impact drives the air from his lungs. Gravel bites into his cheek, leaving small cuts that immediately begin bleeding. His gold watch scrapes against the rough pavement. Matthews drops his full weight onto David's back, driving his knee into the base of David's neck. The pressure makes breathing difficult. The hot asphalt burns against David's face through his torn skin. "Stop resisting! Stop resisting!" Matthews yells, though David isn't moving at all. The gathered crowd reacts with shock and outrage. Multiple voices shout simultaneously. The construction worker drops his coffee cup, which shatters against the concrete. Maria Santos, the gas station attendant, rushes outside. "Hey!" "He wasn't doing anything wrong," Maria shouts, her accented voice cutting through the chaos. "I saw everything!" "He was just getting gas." An elderly white woman in a pearl necklace steps forward despite the danger. "Officers, this is completely unnecessary. That man was being completely cooperative. A teenage girl with purple hair live streams to her 3,000 followers. Y'all, I am literally watching police brutality happen right now. This is insane." While David lies restrained on the burning asphalt, Matthews begins his calculated humiliation. He roughly searches David's pockets with excessive force, deliberately pressing harder than necessary. "Let's see what we have here, Mr. Richardson," Matthews says, emphasizing the formal address with mockery. "Probably got warrants, probably got drugs, probably got weapons." His thick fingers probe through David's jacket pockets. A quality leather wallet, car keys on a simple ring, an iPhone in a protective case. Every item is completely legal and ordinary. David's suit is torn and dirty. Blood trickles from his scraped cheek, mixing with sweat and creating small, dark spots on the asphalt. But his voice remains steady despite the weight crushing his neck. "Officer Matthews, yes, I can see your name tag. You're violating my Fourth Amendment rights, using excessive force, and conducting an illegal detention. This is being recorded by multiple witnesses." Matthews presses his knee harder against David's neck. The message is clear. Speaking will only make things worse. But David continues documenting every violation for the legal record he knows is coming. "Officer Sullivan, Officer Rodriguez, Officer Bradley, I can see all your name tags. You are all accessories to civil rights violations." Sullivan, standing nearby and growing increasingly nervous about the number of recording devices, realizes they need better justification for their violence. The crowd is getting angry. The videos are going to be everywhere within hours. Desperation breeds stupidity. Sullivan positions himself near David's restrained form, making sure he's visible to the recording phones. Then he does something that will haunt him for the rest of his life. He deliberately uses his fingernails to claw deep scratches into his own neck, creating red welts that immediately begin bleeding. The self-inflicted wounds burn and sting, but Sullivan's panic overrides the pain. "He attacked me!" Sullivan suddenly staggers backward dramatically, clutching his scratched neck. "Did you all see that?" "He clawed my neck when I got too close." The crowd erupts in confused anger. Multiple voices shout at once. "That's impossible!" Dr. Patricia Williams, a retired professor who stopped to buy coffee, points at David's restrained form. "That man has been face down on the ground the entire time." The teenager filming shouts, "I've been recording everything. He never moved his hands." "You just scratched yourself." Maria Santos waves frantically toward the store. "The security camera!" "Our camera recorded everything." "He didn't do anything." Sullivan's face goes pale as he realizes the security camera captured his deception. His eyes darted toward the black dome mounted above the convenience store entrance. The red recording light blinks steadily like an electronic witness. Maybe it happened earlier," Sullivan stammers, touching the fresh scratches that are obviously self-inflicted. "In the confusion." Dr. Williams cuts him off with academic authority. "Young man, you just scratched yourself and blamed that innocent man." We all saw it. That camera saw it. Matthews, unaware of Sullivan's catastrophic mistake, continues building their false narrative. He keys his radio with theatrical authority. Central, suspect violently resisted arrest, assaulted Officer Sullivan, and we've had to use necessary force to subdue him. We need a supervisor and medical support for an injured officer immediately. Each word is a lie that will later be dissected in federal court. Each false statement builds toward felony charges that will destroy careers and send officers to prison. David, still pinned under Matthews' weight, speaks with remarkable composure. Officer Sullivan, you just committed perjury, filing a false police report, and attempted to frame an innocent person for assault on a police officer. Officer Matthews, you are an accessory to these crimes. The psychological torture continues. Matthews searches David's torn pockets again, frustrated that every item is completely legal. His wallet contains credit cards, a driver's license, business cards, and cash. Nothing suspicious. Nothing illegal. Nothing to justify their violence. This thug probably stole all these cards, Matthews mutters loud enough for the crowd to hear. But the crowd isn't buying it anymore. Too many people witnessed the entire encounter. Too many phones captured every moment. The security camera recorded Sullivan's self-inflicted scratches and false accusation. A critical moment arrives as David struggles under Matthews' crushing weight. His suit jacket shifts and tears further, revealing a brief glimpse of something metallic clipped to his belt. The angle makes it impossible to identify clearly from most positions. Matthews, drunk on adrenaline and focused on maintaining control, doesn't notice. Neither do Sullivan, Rodriguez, or Bradley. They're too caught up in their power trip to pay attention to details. Only Dr. Williams, standing at the perfect angle near the convenience store entrance, catches the metallic reflection in the morning sunlight. She squints, trying to understand what she's seeing. Something official-looking. Something important. But the distance and David's torn jacket make identification impossible. Not yet. Officer Matthews. David continued his legal documentation despite the pain. Officer Sullivan. Officer Rodriguez. Officer Bradley. Everything you're doing is being recorded by multiple devices and witnesses. You have assaulted a citizen without cause, conducted illegal searches, filed false reports, and Officer Sullivan attempted to frame me for assault while injuring himself. The mention of legal consequences only enrages Matthews further. His face reddens with anger. Sweat drips from his forehead onto David's back. The morning sun beats down mercilessly. I don't care what you think you know about the law, Matthews growls. You're going to jail today. You're going to learn some respect. Sullivan grows more desperate by the minute. The security camera looms above like an electronic judge. His scratched neck throbs with self-inflicted pain. Multiple phones continue recording his failed deception. Derek, maybe we should... Sullivan starts to suggest backing down. Should what? Matthews snaps. Let this thug walk away after assaulting a police officer? After resisting arrest? After threatening officers? Every accusation is a lie. Every charge is fabricated. Every justification crumbles under the weight of video evidence and witness testimony. Dr. Williams approaches despite the danger, her retired professor instincts demanding she speak truth to power. Officers, I am Dr. Patricia Williams, Professor Emeritus at Emory University. I've been watching this entire encounter and this man has done absolutely nothing wrong. You are about to destroy your career and this department's reputation. Matthews glares at her with contempt. Ma'am, you need to step back and let us do our job. Your job? Dr. Williams' voice rises with indignation. Your job is attacking innocent citizens? Your job is letting your partner scratch himself and blame others? Your job is violating constitutional rights in broad daylight? The crowd murmurs agreement. The recording continues from multiple angles. The security camera captures everything in high definition. David, even while being brutalized, continues protecting his legal rights and building his case. Officer Matthews, when this goes to federal court, your qualified immunity won't protect you from these clear constitutional violations. Officer Sullivan's self-inflicted injuries and false accusations constitute federal crimes. The powder keg is about to explode. The hunters are about to become the hunted. Justice is about to be served in the most spectacular way imaginable. But they don't know it yet. In their minds, they're still in control. In their minds, they're still the ones with all the power. They're about to learn how wrong they are. Matthews roughly yanks David to his feet for the arrest. The torn fabric shifts under violent handling. Blood from David's scraped cheek drips onto his white shirt. Dr. Williams, standing near the convenience store, suddenly sees it clearly. The metallic reflection becomes unmistakable in the morning sunlight. "Oh my God. Officer Matthews, do you see what's on his belt?" Matthews glances dismissively at David's waist. His sneer fades. His grip loosens. There, partially concealed by a torn jacket but now visible, gleams a distinctive five-pointed star. The official police chief badge of Millbrook Heights catches the sun like a beacon. Matthews's face goes white. Color drains from his cheeks like water from a broken dam. His mouth falls open in horror. Sullivan stops his fake injury performance, hands frozen at his scratched neck. His eyes lock onto the badge with the expression of a man watching his life collapse. Rodriguez drops her papers. They scatter across asphalt like confetti at a funeral. Bradley steps backward, hand falling from his weapon. Complete silence. Even traffic seems to be quiet. Only radio static and gas pump humming remain. David straightens his jacket with dignity, fully revealing the badge. Despite his bloodied face, his voice carries unmistakable authority. "Officer Matthews, Officer Sullivan, Officer Rodriguez, Officer Bradley, I am Police Chief David Richardson, your new commanding officer as of 8 a.m. this morning." The impact is devastating. Matthews' legs nearly buckle. The predator becomes trembling prey. Sullivan's face goes pale green. He just tried to frame his new boss. "No," Matthews whispers. "No, no, no." The crowd explodes. Maria Santos crosses herself. The teenager live-streaming screams, "Y'all are not going to believe this!" Dr. Williams shakes her head in amazement. The construction worker laughs from sheer absurdity. David continues, voice gaining strength. "You have just committed assault, battery, false imprisonment, illegal search and seizure, filing false reports, and, Officer Sullivan, attempted to frame your commanding officer while creating fake evidence through self-injury." He pauses, letting their crimes sink in. In front of 17 witnesses, recorded on 8 devices, including that security camera. Sullivan's knees give out. He slumps against a car, reality hitting like a physical blow. Career over. Pension gone. The family was destroyed, all because he scratched his own neck. "Chief Richardson, sir, we didn't know." Matthews attempts damage control, voice cracking. "This was all a misunderstanding." David raises his hand for silence. 20 years of command authority. "Officer Matthews, explanations ended when you put your knee on my neck. Officer Sullivan, excuses ended when you clawed yourself and blamed me." The crowd understands the full scope. 4 officers just destroyed their careers by attacking their own boss. David produces his credentials. Badge and appointment letter from the mayor signed 48 hours ago. "I was supposed to review your files and meet my team. Instead, I've learned exactly what kind of officers I'll be commanding, and which ones will be terminated." His voice carries full police authority mixed with controlled anger. "Officer Sullivan, document those self-inflicted scratches and explain how you acquired them. Officer Rodriguez, secure this scene. Officer Bradley, contact Internal Affairs, FBI Civil Rights Division, and the mayor immediately." Military precision. Each officer realizes they're receiving commands from their victim. Matthews drops to his knees in the parking lot before 17 witnesses and 8 cameras. "Please, we were protecting the community. I have 17 years, family, mortgage." David's cold stare cuts him off. "Protect the community from what? A black man buying gasoline? Officer Sullivan, were you protecting the community when you clawed yourself and blamed me?" The questions hang like courtroom accusations. David holds up his badge to catch sunlight, ensuring every camera captures the image. Gold gleams like justice itself. This badge represents 20 years of service, community trust, and the law you just trampled. It represents your new reality. His voice drops to a whisper carrying absolute authority. I am your boss, and you just made the worst mistake of your careers. The reversal is complete. Hunters become hunted. Justice is about to be served. Matthews drops to his knees in the parking lot, his police authority evaporating like morning mist. The man who minutes ago wielded power like a weapon now grovels on hot asphalt before 17 witnesses. Chief Richardson, please. I have 17 years on the force. I have a family. I have a mortgage. Tears stream down his face, mixing with sweat and creating dark spots on the pavement. Please, sir, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. His voice cracks with desperation. The tough cop facade crumbles completely, revealing a broken man who finally understands consequences exist. Sullivan, face buried in his hands, touches the self-inflicted scratches on his neck with trembling fingers. The wounds throb with stupidity and shame. Chief, I'm sorry. I know what I did was wrong, he stammers, his voice barely audible. I panicked. I've never done anything like this before. I scratched myself. The camera will show everything. His confession hangs in the air like a death sentence. Career suicide captured in high definition by multiple recording devices. David takes Matthews' radio with steady hands, keying the microphone with authority that carries across the entire scene. Central Dispatch, this is Police Chief David Richardson. I need Internal Affairs, the FBI Civil Rights Division, and the mayor at the Chevron station on Millbrook Avenue immediately. We have 4 officers in custody for civil rights violations, assault, and filing false reports. His voice is calm, professional, and devastating. Each word seals their fate with bureaucratic precision. Dr. Williams steps forward, becoming the impromptu spokesperson for justice. Her retired professor authority commands attention from everyone present. Chief Richardson, we all witnessed everything. These officers racially profiled you, used excessive force, and that young man there injured himself and tried to blame you. We'll all testify. 17 witnesses nod in unified agreement. Their phones contain damning evidence from multiple angles. The security camera recorded every moment of Sullivan's self-destructive deception. David's first official act as chief demonstrates swift justice. His voice carries the weight of absolute authority. Officers Matthews, Sullivan, Rodriguez, and Bradley, you are immediately suspended without pay, pending investigation. Turn in your weapons, badges, and radio equipment now. The metallic sounds of duty gear being removed echo across the parking lot like funeral bells. Badges hit the asphalt with tiny clinks. Weapons are placed on the sedan's hood with reluctant finality. Local news trucks begin arriving, their satellite dishes rising like technological vultures. Channel 7's Amanda Lane approaches with cameras rolling, her news instincts recognizing a career-making story. Chief Richardson, can you tell us what happened here? David straightens his torn suit and addresses the cameras directly, blood still visible on his scraped cheek. His dignity remains intact despite his disheveled appearance. These officers violated their oath, the Constitution, and the public trust. One even injured himself and attempted to frame me for assault while being recorded by security cameras. The cameras capture every word for the evening news and viral social media clips that will reach millions within hours. In a moment of poetic justice that feels scripted by karma itself, David reads Matthews his constitutional rights. Derek Matthews, you are under arrest for assault, civil rights violations, and abuse of authority under color of law. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. The same officer who minutes ago was violating constitutional rights now faces the very system he perverted. The irony tastes bitter in the morning air. Matthew's hands are cuffed behind his back by arriving supervisors. The metal bracelets click shut with finality that echoes his career's end. The crowd spontaneously erupts in applause. Justice served in real time creates a cathartic moment that witnesses will remember forever. Maria Santos shouts above the clapping, "Justice!" Finally, justice. Her accented voice carries the hopes of everyone who ever faced police abuse without recourse. The teenagers with phones post updates faster than breaking news. This police officer scratched himself and blamed the black guy, but he was actually the police chief. Video going viral in 3, 2, 1, ... quote. Social media notifications ping constantly as the footage spreads across platforms. Hashtags begin trending within minutes. The story takes on a life of its own in the digital ecosystem. Rodriguez and Bradley surrender their equipment with shame-faced silence. Their careers end not with violence or dramatics, but with quiet disgrace and the understanding that they chose the wrong side of history. Sullivan is led away with his self-inflicted scratches clearly visible to news cameras. The wounds serve as permanent evidence of his desperation and dishonesty. Medical personnel document the injuries for the federal case file. Dr. Williams approaches David as the immediate chaos settles. Her academic dignity provides a moment of calm reflection amid the justice storm. "Chief Richardson, I'm glad I stopped for coffee this morning." Sometimes the universe puts us exactly where we need to be to witness truth overcome lies. David nods with quiet gratitude. His bloodied face and torn suit tell the story of injustice confronted and defeated through the simple power of truth and accountability. The morning sun climbs higher, casting new shadows across a parking lot where justice was served, careers were destroyed, and the system finally worked exactly as designed. 4 officers' lives changed forever. 1 man's dignity remained intact. 17 witnesses saw proof that truth eventually prevails, even when lies seem overwhelming. The immediate consequences are swift and final, but this is only the beginning of a much larger reckoning. Within 48 hours, the story explodes across every major news network. CNN's breaking news banner reads, "New police chief brutalized by his own officers on first day." The security camera footage became the most-watched police accountability video in Internet history. Special Agent Sarah Martinez of the FBI's Civil Rights Division arrives from Atlanta with a team of federal investigators. Her steel-gray eyes survey the gas station like a crime scene, which it technically is. "This case represents everything wrong with police culture," she tells reporters. 4 officers committed federal crimes against their own commanding officer while being recorded by multiple devices. It's prosecutorial gold. The federal investigation moves with unprecedented speed. The gas station's HD security footage becomes the smoking gun that destroys any possibility of defense. Frame by frame, investigators document Sullivan's deliberate self-inflicted scratches while David remains restrained and motionless. The video goes viral globally. International news outlets pick up the story. BBC headlines read, "American police assault their own chief." The footage becomes required viewing in police academies worldwide as an example of how not to conduct law enforcement. Social media erupts with hashtags that trend for weeks. Number sign Chief Richardson becomes a symbol of dignity under pressure. Number sign Sullivan scratches becomes a meme about police dishonesty. Number Millbrook shame represents systemic police corruption. 3 weeks after the incident, a federal grand jury hands down indictments that shock the law enforcement community. The charges are devastating and comprehensive. Matthews faces 15 years for civil rights violations under color of law, assault and battery, conspiracy, and deprivation of rights. Sullivan faces 18 years for evidence tampering, filing false reports, attempted obstruction of justice, and civil rights violations. His self-inflicted scratches elevate his charges to evidence fabrication, a federal felony. Rodriguez and Bradley each face 5 years as accessories to civil rights violations. Their silent participation makes them equally culpable under federal law. The trial becomes a media circus that dominates cable news for months. Court TV provides gavel-to-gavel coverage. Legal analysts dissect every moment of testimony. David takes the witness stand with quiet dignity, his voice steady as he recounts the morning that changed everything. Your Honor, these officers didn't see a police chief, a public servant, or even a human being. They saw only skin color and assumed criminality. Officer Sullivan's actions demonstrate the lengths some will go to justify their prejudice, even injuring themselves to create false evidence. The security camera footage plays on courtroom monitors in devastating clarity. The jury watches Sullivan carefully position himself away from recording phones before deliberately scratching his own neck. The timestamp proves David was face down and restrained during the entire deception. Expert witnesses testify about the technical aspects of the footage. Forensic analysts confirm Sullivan's wounds were self-inflicted based on angle, depth, and fingernail marks. The evidence is overwhelming and irrefutable. Dr. Williams's testimony electrifies the packed courtroom. Her professor emeritus credentials give weight to every word. I watched 4 sworn officers systematically violate every principle of justice. They profiled, they assaulted, they lied, and one even injured himself to create false evidence. Without that badge revealing Chief Richardson's identity, they would have destroyed an innocent man's life with fabricated charges. Maria Santos brings the courtroom to tears with her broken English and unshakable moral clarity. I came to America for justice, for fairness. What I saw that day was not America. It was corruption and hate. But what's happening here in this courtroom, this trial for justice, this is the America I believe in. The defense attorneys attempt desperate strategies. Matthews' lawyer claims momentary panic led to excessive force. Sullivan's team argues he was overwhelmed by the situation and acted irrationally. But the prosecution systematically destroys every excuse. The security footage shows Sullivan's calculated positioning and deliberate actions. Expert testimony proves this wasn't panic. It was premeditated deception. The prosecutor's closing argument becomes legendary in legal circles. Ladies and gentlemen, we have video evidence of a police officer deliberately injuring himself and immediately blaming an innocent, restrained citizen. This wasn't a split-second decision born of fear. This was calculated corruption designed to justify violence that had already occurred. During Sullivan's cross-examination, his deception unravels completely. The prosecutor plays the security footage in slow motion, showing Sullivan's careful positioning before scratching his neck. Officer Sullivan, can you explain why you moved away from the recording phones before injuring yourself? I don't remember. The timestamp shows you looked directly at the security camera before scratching your neck. Were you aware you were being recorded? I wasn't thinking clearly. But you were thinking clearly enough to immediately blame Chief Richardson for injuries you had just inflicted on yourself. Sullivan's silence speaks volumes. His lawyer objects, but the damage is catastrophic and permanent. Federal Judge Margaret Thompson shows no mercy during sentencing. Her voice carries the weight of constitutional authority. Officers Matthews, Sullivan, Rodriguez, and Bradley, you violated your oath, the Constitution, and the sacred trust between police and citizens. Mr. Matthews, your use of excessive force and racial profiling earns you 12 years in federal prison. Mr. Sullivan, your deliberate fabrication of evidence represents the absolute worst kind of police corruption. Your actions could have sent an innocent man to prison while you knew the truth. 15 years in federal prison. Ms. Rodriguez and Mr. Bradley, your willing participation in these crimes makes you equally culpable. 3 years each in federal prison. The sentences echo through the courtroom like thunder. Matthew's wife sobs in the gallery. Sullivan stares at his hands in defeated silence. The city of Millbrook Heights settles David's civil rights lawsuit for $3.1 million, the largest police misconduct settlement in Georgia history. David immediately donates the entire amount to police accountability organizations, body camera programs for small departments, and racial justice nonprofits. This money came from taxpayers who deserve better from their police, David tells reporters. It should go toward preventing future incidents, not enriching me. Under David's leadership, the Millbrook Heights Police Department implements revolutionary reforms. Mandatory bias training becomes monthly, not yearly. Civilian oversight boards review every use of force incident. Body cameras are required for all interactions. Community policing replaces aggressive enforcement. The Richardson protocols became a national model studied by police departments across America. Crime drops 23% while community trust soars to unprecedented levels. Matthews loses everything: pension, house, family, freedom. His wife divorces him while he awaits sentencing. His children change their last name to escape the shame. Sullivan's mugshot with visible self-inflicted scratches becomes an FBI training image about integrity and evidence tampering. Police academies use his case study in ethics courses about the importance of honesty. Rodriguez moves across the country, but her federal conviction follows her everywhere. No law enforcement agency will hire her. She works retail security for minimum wage. Bradley changes careers entirely, becoming a social worker focused on police-community relations. His conviction serves as daily motivation to rebuild trust he helped destroy. The case establishes landmark precedent for police accountability. Law schools teach Richardson versus Millbrook Heights as constitutional law. The security footage becomes evidence that truth and technology can overcome even the most brazen lies. Most importantly, the case proves that justice delayed is not always justice denied. Sometimes it's justice perfected through overwhelming evidence and unwavering determination to hold power accountable. 6 months later, Chief Richardson stands in his corner office, looking out at officers conducting a community policing event in the park. Children laugh as they play basketball with officers who once viewed community interaction as a burden. His department has become a beacon of police reform. Crime dropped 23%, while community trust reached 94%, highest in Georgia. 0 excessive force complaints. 0 civil rights violations. 0 lawsuits. David adjusts the same badge that changed everything that September morning. Gold catches afternoon sunlight streaming through his windows. That morning taught me that injustice can happen to anyone, anywhere, anytime. But it also taught me that truth, evidence, and courage can triumph over prejudice and corruption, even when officers harm themselves to maintain lies. The gas station now displays a bronze plaque. Site of Justice, where truth overcame prejudice, September 2024. Maria Santos, now manager, tells the story to every customer. The security footage is preserved in the Smithsonian's Civil Rights Collection. Chief Richardson has spoken at 47 police academies, 12 universities, and the Congressional Black Caucus. His message remains consistent. Character is revealed not in power, but in how power is used. Truth will always emerge, no matter how desperately lies try to cover it. Dr. Williams and Chief Richardson became close friends, working on police-community relations. She jokes, "Best $47 of gas I ever bought. I witnessed history." The Richardson protocols have been adopted by 300 police departments nationwide. Officer complaints dropped 67%. Community satisfaction rose dramatically wherever his methods were applied. CNN's year-end special featured Chief Richardson as Person of the Year. Sometimes justice comes unexpectedly. But when it comes, it changes everything. Derek Matthews serves year 1 of 12 years in federal prison. Appeals rejected. Prison interviews reveal no genuine remorse. "I was just doing my job. Political correctness destroyed my career." Even behind bars, Matthews refuses accountability for his racist assumptions. Jake Sullivan serves in a different facility. His self-inflicted scratches healed, but psychological scars remain. Other inmates know his case from news coverage. Little sympathy exists for a cop who injured himself to frame innocence. His family disowned him. My wife remarried. Children refuse contact. The scratches that destroyed his life in seconds continue destroying it years later. The story's impact extends beyond 4 ruined careers. Police departments updated training programs. Body camera requirements increased. Civilian oversight gained authority. The case proved technology and truth overcome brazen deceptions. Most importantly, it demonstrated that justice delayed isn't always justice denied. Sometimes it's justice perfected through overwhelming evidence and unwavering accountability. If this story moved you, if it gave you hope that truth overcomes lies and justice prevails over prejudice, share it. Every share sends a message that honesty matters, accountability matters, character matters more than color. Comment below. Have you witnessed someone lie their way out of wrongdoing? Have you seen truth triumph when everything seemed hopeless? Your stories matter. Share them. Hit subscribe if you believe in justice over prejudice, truth over lies, character over corruption. We share these stories because they need telling, because truth deserves celebration, because justice delayed doesn't mean justice denied when courage speaks truth to power. Think about this. If Chief Richardson hadn't had that badge, if he'd been just another black man buying gasoline, would Sullivan's lies have been believed? Would Matthews' violence have been justified? Would an innocent man be in prison? What does your answer say about the world we're fighting to change? Justice delayed is justice denied. But justice served, even when it emerges from desperate attempts to fabricate evidence, reminds us that character beats corruption, truth defeats deception, and even in darkness, light exposes lies. Some badges represent authority, some represent power, but the best badges represent truth. And truth, when it emerges through courage and evidence, changes everything. Share this story. Subscribe for more justice served. Comment below. Stories like this need telling. Truth deserves hearing. Justice, when it comes, deserves celebration. The light always wins.